I'm Jillian.
And I'm Natasha. And this is Mental Mudslide.
Each episode, we slide down the slippery slopes of our minds. I've got some garden gummies, a head full of wild ideas, and zero filters.
And I'm here to ride that wave and see where our mental mudslides take us. It's all about fun, unexpected turns, and a deep dive into the wacky and wonderful.
You're listening to the After the Slide companion episode. If you haven't listened to the full episode titled Sticker Crimes and Scripted Seductions, do that now or you'll be confused.
Hi guys. So, if you'll recall, on our last After the Slide, Mr. Jillian had kind of asked me a question. Do you remember that question, Mr. Jillian?
I do.
Mr. Jillian asked if I might be able to take some tines out of his derriere from a cacti, if I remember correctly. And part of my response to that, what did I kind of say?
You said that you could call your mom, you could call a nurse, but generally speaking, you would not be willing to do so.
Well, Mr. Jillian, I have a follow-up. My mom listened to that episode. This is from Mommy. Those of you who have heard Mommy on the line before, this is Natasha's Mommy. Okay. So, Mr. Jillian has a very nice speaking voice. I thought it was so sweet when he said, "You are my only family here." Cactus needle removal. I would have done it no problem. No questions asked. Why? Well, let me see how I say this name. What will you call him? Poe. So Poe is my dad. And I were hunting antelope. And he was getting ready to make a big shot on an antelope. So I sat down lower to the grass to try to hide from the antelope. And I sat down right on a cactus. It went in through my pants and my union suit into my ass. Many needles went in. Poe could not help me get these out as he was actively hunting. So I asked the guide who was with us, a man, in parentheses, and dropped my pants and opened the crap trap right on my union suit, which exposed my ass so he could pull them out. He was shocked, embarrassed, and hesitant because Poe was close by. I finally said, if I could pull them out myself, I would have. Just pull them out. So he did. Afterwards, Poe got his antelope, and I let him know what happened, and the guide was still very flustered by it, and we all just laughed our asses off. So, yep, I would have helped him. So, I think water should always be supplied at meetings or classes, but not necessarily coffee.
What is your response, Mr. Jillian?
Thank you, Mommy. I appreciate your empathy and your kindness. I wish you would have been here to help.
All right, so that's the update, guys. So stay tuned and see if Mommy comes out to New Mexico.
I love it. Your ass will be safe with her here.
Natasha,
Yeah.
listening back to that last episode was totally seductive in every way.
So much seduction. Oh my gosh. All the things. Well, I do want to say first, I know we're very serious about our listener feedback. So I do appreciate that we started adding some like fun, catchy noises to the pod. But I have to be honest. There's a one that we added at the beginning that I'm not so sure I've like fully bought into. So I don't know if you know, but like at the beginning, after the introduction, there's like a water noise. But for some reason, my brain thinks it's jumping into a toilet. Like it sounds like a toilet flush. Like water, like an old toilet water swooshing around a toilet.
Okay, so mudslide mamas and daddies. Natasha did not get to approve that sound before it went to publish because I added it kind of like last minute. But she gave me that feedback almost immediately when the episode went live. And I think it sounds like a deep dive into the wacky and wonderful, which is why I chose that sound.
Fair.
So, what you think it sounds like a toilet flushing, Do you have any other feedback? Have you
Well,
asked anybody else?
No, I haven't. But it maybe it's not the toilet like flushing, but it's the toilet water whooshing down the toilet. So maybe not the flush, but the whoosh. Like, I don't know. So yeah, but maybe we can get some more feedback from the mamas and the daddies and see if I'm the only random crazy person, which is very possible, right?
So I have asked 3 people. So I asked Mr. Jillian.
Mr. Jillian, okay.
He liked all of the sound effects.
Okay.
So he was here for all of them.
Okay, great.
I also played only the intro for my children because that was not an episode for children.
Yeah.
So I only played the intro so that I could get their feedback on the sound. My oldest thought that it sounded like a shallow pool that was getting jumped into.
Definitely not deep water, that's for sure. Yeah.
And my youngest was like, "No, that's a dive."
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I don't. That's all of the feedback that I have.
That's fair.
But we want to hear from you.
Yes.
Mudslide mamas and daddies.
Yeah.
We want more. Did it sound like a toilet? Do we keep it or do we flush that one away?
Well, and then also, I mean, it is a mudslide, and you know where our beginnings came from. So maybe that's why I'm hearing what I heard. I don't know, but oh god.
I realized that I said I never defaced anything in the beginning. And then I proceeded to talk about all of the times I had egged houses. And I just want to clarify, I'm fully aware that that is defacing property, but I haven't egged a house since I was a teenager. And, you know, I mean, hashtag growth, right? Like, I mean,
I'm still kind of wondering, like, why is this a thing? Like, why is it stuff that like kids like are interested in doing? Like, I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. You know, like I get cow tipping. I never did that, but at least I get it. Like something happens. You know what I mean? Like the cow is like asleep so you can tip it over or something. I don't know. But there's like I don't know. But like egging, like what is the value add? You know, what's the fun?
I have no clue. And really thinking back on it, it was like a terrible thing to do. And I remember once we egged a boy's house just because he broke up with my friend.
No, that's valid.
And
no, that's valid.
I don't know. Those poor parents had to clean up egg off of their house. It was like a dozen eggs. We got like a dozen.
I hope they reprimanded him for his naughty behavior.
All because their son like dumped my like slightly unhinged wackadoodle friend. Like I just say, like, I mean, it was like, you know.
Yeah. Never cross a woman. Hell hath no
the worst
fury.
Part,
what is it? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Is that what they say? Yeah.
So 2 things happened from that. So we didn't exactly get caught like you did in your whole egging house thing. But the next day, my friend's dad was like,
"Where are all the eggs?"
Hey, no. He said, you guys spilled some, I'm guessing it's nacho cheese in a few places in the minivan. You need to go out there and clean it. There were eggshells.
Oh my gosh.
He knew.
Of course he knew.
But he did not.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, I also was kind of thinking back on that and wanted to clarify that the police did show up there because they wanted to like scare the kids. So like the neighbors whose house got egged, they did not come out, but they called the cops. And then the cops came in to make a big show of like, you're in serious trouble, you know? And so that was kind of the thing. But I do not think I went to the egging or participated in the egging. I still don't remember exactly though. But I did think back on if I'd ever done anything bad in that time. And I did steal property with instant karma. Instant karma. Yeah.
Oh, girl. Okay, let's hear it.
So long ago and far away. In my early teens, my family was going on a little like weekend trip and they were like, you can bring friends if you want. We were going to go to this like parade in another city, by a river, yada, yada. So I brought 2 of my best friends and we were going to go for the weekend. And somehow we got so lucky, Jillian. We must have been, I don't know. How old are you in like 8th grade? However old that is, that's how old we were, right? Just before high school.
13.
Okay. Because there were 2 adults and 3 kids, they put us in our own hotel room. Bad choice on the parents' part, but whatever. So I don't know if they thought because they were in the room next to us that we would like behave. No idea. So we snuck out. We're like, oh, we're grown-ups on the town. It's night. We're out and about. We're going to see if there's any cute boys in this town. Yada, yada, yada. We're walking around. This place is dead. It's a very small town in the middle of like nowheresville. So we're walking along the river and we notice that there is a island in the middle of the river that has a what is it called? A lighthouse on it. We're like, oh shit, it would be so cool if we went out to that lighthouse. And then we saw that they had paddle boats tied to the dock, like rental ones, you know, the ones that you use like your feet to paddle with, like 2 people paddle kind of a thing. We're like, well, we'll just use one of those to go out to the island. Now, I will say in my mind at the time, for some reason, it did not click that that was theft. But so basically there were these rental boats at night and nobody was using them and the rental people weren't there. So we were using them for free, I guess, in our minds. So basically we stole this fucking paddle boat, right? And we're paddling out to this island and we're like, fuck yeah, we're going to have this private island. We're going to be in this like lighthouse. Da, 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 da. And we start getting really close to the island and it's just a tiny little island, right? And those paddle boats, you don't really have a ton of control. Like you can kind of direction it, right? But it's on water. It's not like it has like brakes, right? Like you kind of float to a stop eventually. Well, as we start getting closer to this island, all of a sudden we start hearing these crazy ass noises, Jillian, and all this stuff is like running and moving and like all over the island. And we realized this is an island full of like, okay, in my mind, 100 fucking movies, 100 fucking monkeys from that movie Outbreak.
It's full of bats, isn't it? Is it full of bats?
No, it's those monkeys from the movies, from the Outbreak movies.
It really was?
100%.
Oh, okay. I thought that
100%.
So it really was. When you started telling me, I was like, oh my God, it's gotta be bats.
No.
It's gotta be bats, which I have a terrible bat story I'll have to tell you
I
about
don't give a shit about bats. It would have been totally fine. It was all these like things like crawling down a building and running towards the beach. So as we start getting closer and we're like kind of going full speed, all these monkeys are like joining together on the beach front.
Ready to jump on your
ready
boat.
to jump on our mother.
They're coming for you.
Boat. They were coming for us. They were going to come infect us, girl. Oh my gosh. So we're paddling backwards. We're freaking the fuck out. I'm like, we are almost close enough for these monkeys to jump on this boat. And they were ready. They have been held hostage, prisoner on this island for probably their whole lives, looking at the banks and being like, get me the fuck off this island. Oh my God. So we finally got this sucker in reverse and went right back. And we went right back to our hotel room. We were like, oh my God, I can't. Like, I was like, I will never steal another fucking boat again in my life. Well, turns out, and then we are freaked the fuck out. Because monkeys aren't native to Florida. Okay. Just for those of you who think like everything exists in Florida, like those are technically not supposed to be there. Okay. So we get back and we're like, oh my God. And we're freaking out and like, how could this be? And like, was that like a haunting? It felt like we were pulling up to like some sort of like haunted house that was we were going to get attacked by these like demon monkeys because it's pitch black out, right? So it's very hard to see. Anyway, in the morning, in the light of day, we get up and there is a restaurant on the bank of the river and they own this island and it's called Monkey Island. And it's like an attraction in this like little podunk town. Oh my gosh, I've never been so freaked out in my life up to that point. Like, but we were like, oh no, we will never steal another vehicle again in our lives, ever. So yeah, instant karma. Almost shit my pants. So that's my stolen property. I think the statute of limitations has run out. And we did return the boat. We tied it back up. Oh my God.
So I actually stole some property once as well.
She's a
I know.
limitations, has that
I
one?
apparently was a deviant.
Wow.
No. Okay. So we were at a hardware store
Uh-huh.
and I don't know. My mom was buying something and I was with a couple other kids that were under my mom's care.
Mhm.
And we had grabbed some paint samples, because you could get like the different paint sample card little
Mhm.
thingies. And we were like, oh, that's cool. Right. And so we had a couple of these cards and no big deal because those are
Yeah.
free little paint samples. And we took, like 5 or 6 a
Right.
piece. But then we were standing up at the front getting ready to leave. And we saw this little like business card holder
Mhm.
and it had these little cards in it that said love tester and it was like a little heart that you put your thumb on
Mhm.
and then it was a mood ring but in a business card
Oh, how
format.
cute. That's cute.
Yeah. They were in a business card holder without a price sitting on the business card holder. So we just thought that they were free. So we took all like 20 of them.
Oh, shit.
And then when we got outside, we realized it and we were like, oh my God, we stole these. And we were so freaked out and had no idea what to do. And I mean, I had to have been like 7 or 8, if that, right? 6, 7, 8, something like that.
No.
And my mom, I don't even know if she knows. I'll have to ask her if she remembers this as like a follow-up for next time. But I tossed them underneath this truck because I was so afraid that I would have the stolen property on me. So I didn't even keep them.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh.
I was so panicked. I should have just taken them back inside, but I was afraid that I would, get arrested or something. Because, like, as a kid, like, you don't know if you're like, I didn't realize that I had that.
Yeah.
Like, you just think, oh, I did this and now I can't take it back.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I did steal something at one point.
Aw.
But, yeah, well, speaking of cops showing up and all of that and being afraid of getting arrested,
Uh-huh.
part of your story about the cops showing up to the birthday party,
Mhm.
you said something about a baby shower from your senior year. And I'm just going to say we need to know more because it's giving
Florida woman.
teen mom. It's giving
Oh, it's teen mom.
It's giving Kool-Aid mocktails. And I think that you said that there were like strippers because like that's kind of what it sounded like in the way that it went.
Uh-huh.
So, spill the tea. We need to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I come from a very special place in the world. It's called Florida. And so we just do things a little differently down in Florida than other parts of the country. Yeah. So in my senior year of high school, one of my coworkers, who was also like a classmate, got pregnant. And so her mom threw her a baby shower. So this was the first baby shower of like somebody, a contemporary of mine, that I had been to. I don't recall like how old she was. I think she might have been 16 or 17. I think I was 17 or so. But we were coworkers and classmates, right? And so,
Gotcha.
and then there were other girls from the high school. Like we had a very large employer. So like 4 of the girls from my high school in my age range also worked at the same place. So she's like, come on over to, the baby shower. It's going to be really exciting. Da, 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 da. So we get there and it's in a double wide. Very elegant though, very beautiful inside. Like her mom had like white carpet. She had plastic on like the good furniture in the good living room. Like this was like a fancier, like higher, like more like a manufactured home. So on the nicer end of like the trailer spectrum for Florida. So, we come in, we drop our gifts. The mom is super excited. The girl who's pregnant's excited. Everybody's there. And then there's a knock at the door. So apparently...
And it was the coppers.
It was the cops. It was the love cops. So I'm sorry, hold on.
Love
I'm just
pop.
looking back on this right now. It's making me laugh so much because I just sorry.
That's crazy. It's a high school baby shower and Love Cop showed up.
So it's not even a bachelorette party. This girl is not getting married. She's not with the dad. But in Florida, I guess any occasion will do to hire a stripper. I don't know. But
I love it. I love
no.
it.
No.
I mean, you're living your best life. You're living your best life. You're like, you know what? It's Tuesday. Let's get some strippers over here.
Well, it gets better. Yeah, so it's a daytime, like brunch type baby shower for a teenage underage mom. And this man comes in and he does his thing. Well, let me explain to you. He was built like he had just gotten done with boot camp, but had been to battle and had lost a leg. So our male stripper only had one leg. He had like a prosthetic leg, like one of the metal pole legs, but we didn't know that until he ripped off his pants. So,
well, I have a question. When he ripped off his pants, did you see a fourth leg that became a third leg?
oh yeah.
Damn it, I fucked
It's
it
a
up.
third leg. Yeah, the second and the third. The second
when he ripped off his pants, did his third leg end up becoming a second leg, or was it a little stubby too?
Well, I'll say his second and third leg were not that different in size.
Oh.
He did not get fully nude, but he had on like a banana hammock kind of situation. And he was one of those dancers that is a gyrating dancer, a very, very aggressive dancer. So he also like lap danced everybody, including the mom to be, with like full force gyration, like machine gun style gyration.
So he almost got her pregnant again, is what you're saying?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that was my first experience with a like stripper at a home, like a bring into your home stripper. Yeah, and it was at a teenage baby shower.
That is hilarious.
I know. And I thought to myself, you know what? Only in Florida. Yeah.
That is just, that's really weird. That's really weird.
I know. You've never had anything like that, huh? It's so shocking.
And not like that. No, I've only had one in-home stripper like experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which was for my dad's 50th birthday.
No. Why did you have this experience? Why were you at your birthday party and the stripper was rented for your dad?
Yeah, there were a lot of people there, but you know what? I am not sure if she was a stripper or if she was like a belly dancer who got down to like an appropriate. Now I'm like really questioning it because I don't know why. If it was a stripper, I don't feel like my mom would have gotten a stripper. I bet she was a belly dancer. I don't know, but here's the thing. As a joke, he had all of these like elderly things, like a wheelchair and like a cane and like a bottle of like, like back pills and stuff like that, right? So she was supposed to get him up and like make him dance and stuff, and that's what she and my mom had talked about. And then she got there and he was sitting in the wheelchair because they were like joking around and made him sit down in the wheelchair before this lady came in, this performer.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, was she a stripper? Because like my grandma was there. I was there. So was she? Maybe she was just a belly dancer. I don't know.
So interesting.
Now I'm like really weird, but so that was my only experience, and clearly I don't remember it very well. But I do have a question about the stripper cops.
Yeah. Yes.
Did they have good opening lines, or would they have benefited from a sex script walking in.
Well, it was only one. And I gotta be honest, I really don't remember the dialogue. I was I was a little shocked at that age by, a man ripping off his clothes in the middle of the day at a baby shower. So,
Totally. I can totally see that. But, as I was getting prepared to publish the episode, I was really, really thinking, about our whole sex scripts discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And I did something last night that I'm just like a little bit ashamed of.
Ooh.
So I kind of have a little bit of a problem. And the problem is that I can't stop myself from buying domain names.
Oh my gosh. Where is the like AA meeting for domain name purchasers? Like,
I don't know. I think I probably buy about 8 to 10 a year.
Tasha, what did you buy? What did you buy?
So you're excited. I'm gonna need a drum roll. Scriptedseductions.com.
Oh, that's not so bad. I kind of like it.
I mean, it's in the title of our episode.
Oh.
That's where it came from.
Love it. Oh my gosh. You're like, yep, that's gonna stick, baby.
So Scripted Seductions. Well, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get that. This is a great idea. Everybody who listens to Mental Mudslides is gonna want to start this. So scriptedseductions.com has one little tiny footprint in the world now.
Incredible.
But also
Incredible.
exciting is I was recently down to visit you in New Mexico, and we had a business discussion with one of our friends about putting actual effort into the sex scripts, or aka scriptedseductions.com.
Yeah, absolutely. We sure did. Well, speaking of sexy things, strippers and the like, while you were here, we also did it.
Yes.
We went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
We sure shit did.
Give everybody an
Natasha,
update.
I have been before, so I am so excited to hear your full synopsis.
Well, mamas and daddies, as longtime listeners, you might be able to guess that I fell asleep.
She really did. So, Natasha, you falling asleep in Rocky Horror was beyond hilarious to me. My favorite part of you falling asleep was the fact, so you fell asleep probably in one of the
lulls,
easiest spots to fall asleep.
Yes.
There's definitely a lull of audience participation. So during that lull, you kind of drifted off. And then there's a part where the doctor comes in and he yells, "Great Scott!" And that's when you take out of your prop bag your toilet paper and you throw it. Okay.
Yes,
and
that's correct.
You were just like sleeping. And then when Great Scott was said, you literally sprung into action, grabbed your toilet paper. You were fully fucking in. You threw that toilet paper. You were like, I am back in the game, bro.
Yes. Well, I thought the movie was going to start at 10:30. I didn't realize that just like the event was going to start at 10:30. So I think the movie didn't start until 12, which makes sense, right? Because it's always been a midnight showing historically. And I was like, oh, well, look, I'm going to go to an early showing of this. It'll be great. So I think I just ran out of steam, and so did the movie at that point and the audience participation. And I just kind of took a little snappy nappy.
Yeah, you did. So I was really excited about this. So the first time that I saw Rocky Horror live was in a big theater that had like multiple, like 2 aisles, lots of space up front, like all of this. This theater had 4 seats, a small aisle, and 4 seats. So it was 8 seats total across. It was very small. There were 16-ish maybe actors participating in this. They had pre-show burlesque dancers. They had so much going on. It was extra wild because of the small space. And the next day, I was still pulling rice out of my hair. And one of our friends who went as well found rice in her bed. Like, they went to bed. She got up the next morning. She was making the bed. She's like, oh my gosh, there's rice all over in here. So there was rice all up and through.
Oh, yeah.
And the first time I went, they were very specific about no rice in the theater because that place was a fucking shit show when we left. I've never seen a bigger mess on a floor.
Oh my gosh. Well, I had rice in my boots. I had torn pantyhose. I had a big red V marked on my forehead. Like, it was a whole thing. I got to do some audience participation stuff. I learned some burlesque moves. So all in all, like, it was a good experience. I will be honest, if I think I had watched the movie before going to the show, I probably wouldn't have gone to the show because
Of course, you
yeah,
wouldn't have.
no,
Because the
no.
movie's dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, it was dumb. It was hard to follow, but it was a fun experience. So I'm glad I have done it. I probably won't ever have a reason or desire to ever do it again, and that's fine. But it was worth it. There was some nice, snacks beforehand. And yeah, so it was a good time. It was a good time. But yes, luckily I got my little snappy nappy in, and that I think definitely helped.
Okay, so you know that business planning and vision is like my favorite pastime, right?
Yes.
Before we went, I have told you about my desire to actually make more audience participation movie events.
Yeah.
And you had never been to an audience participation movie because there's really not. I mean, there's Rocky Horror is pretty much the only big one. I think that there's a couple other but they're not the same, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about if there were a different movie and it had the same kind of like vibe? Do you think a different movie would have, or do you think that it's just Rocky Horror and that's it?
No.
That's the only one that'll ever be successful?
Oh no, I think it's a fantastic idea. I think there's other like musical type movies that would be good for this. I've even been to plays that are kind of audience participation interaction, and it kind of makes it a little bit more exciting and fun. So I think that's a fantastic idea. I think like
So another domain that I own, Natasha.
God, what?
Partylikthemovie.com.
Ooh.
Partylikthemovie.com.
I love it.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
And my first movie that I want to do to turn into an audience participation movie, and this is wild because our mudslide mamas and daddies are not going to believe it when I say this out loud. Well, I think they'll believe. Okay, Pulp Fiction. But the thing that they're not going to believe is that you've never seen Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah, no, I've never seen. I thought you were going to say the other one should be Kill Bill or something, because that would be hilarious. Yeah, no, I've never.
Oh my
seen
God,
Pulp
no!
Fiction.
People will die.
Oh, whatever. A little red Kool-Aid spurting through the audience is all fun and games. It's fine. You throw snakes everywhere, have a pussy wagon drive right through the place. It's all good. Oh. No, yeah, I've never seen Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I tried watching it, and I think if you don't hook me in the first 10 minutes of most things, I'm out. I'm done. Like, yeah. So it was pretty boring start. I get that it's supposed to be a really good movie. Someday I'll watch it. it was not the day when I tried.
You know what? Maybe the first time that you need to watch it is at my audience participation movie premiere.
There we go. Because if I just have to watch two men chit-chatting at a dinette for like 30 minutes, I mean, I can just, go to the local Denny's and see that. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, no thanks.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, Meatloaf was in. I think you might have missed that entire section. Were you sleeping for that, or did you see Meatloaf in
you
the
know
movie?
what? That's when I took the nap. I saw him bust through a wall or something. You said something about that's Meatloaf, and I was like, I saw it, and now I've seen what I need to see, and I passed out. So it was right after that.
He was driving. He did drive the motorcycle in Rocky Horror.
Yes.
And we talked a lot about Meatloaf's music video.
Yes.
So I wanted to tell you a little extra research that I did on this music video. Because while we were recording, it was the live version that I could find, but I found the actual
Okay.
video. And the song's music video was directed by Michael Bay and was based on Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. Well, that's sweet.
So not exactly Hunchback of Notre Dame, but it definitely had that same kind of castle-y vibe of like
Dark
that whole
castle,
thing.
whatever, monsters, something. Yeah.
Yep. Dark castle, but it did start out with motorcycles. I think maybe because I assume Meatloaf was into motorcycles. I mean, he did the whole motorcycle thing there. Like that must have been the thing. So,
well, I did want to say
yeah.
something else because I know that when we were talking about it, once we figured out what the thing is he wouldn't do, it was like, that's cheesy. Like that's like a bad pickup line. But I wanted to just kind of come back over the top of that because I kind of realized something. I actually don't mind cheesy pickup lines, but only if they come from somebody I already know. Because I love a corny, jokey thing that can be like transitioned into flirting, but not with a stranger, not like as a pickup line from a stranger. So, like, if I was dating somebody and they came up to me, like, to meet me at the bar or something and was like, hey, are you an angel because you just fell from heaven, right? And maybe like grab my ass at the same time, I'd be totally into that. But if some just rando guy that I had never seen before did that, I would be so creeped out and weirded out by that.
I'm glad to hear that you like cheesy because that is 100% my entire humor. Like that's all that I have. All that I have is like the cheesiest, like most ridiculous jokes. Like,
oh man, I know. Well, I love that about you. So, yes.
a joke only a friend could love.
Yes, exactly. Ooh, and I did some homework. Just FYI.
Okay. All right.
I have memorized a second phone number. Yeah. So, if I get arrested, I'll have someone to call. I plan to expand this list. So, I think there are people I need to have somebody I can call for an arrest. I need to be able to call like family in case of like family-based emergencies. So, like I'm going to expand the list, but I do at least have one. So, very very excited.
Is it mine? No. There are only 5 digits in like there's repeating numbers in mine. So you would only have to remember 5 total numbers.
Oh, perfect.
And I mean, once you got the area code out of the way, the rest of it, there's only 2 after that. So, I mean,
my grandmother's work phone number only had 2 numbers in it. So that's also probably why I remember that. Because that was the one I was like, yeah, I still remember that. But it was literally two numbers. So.
By the way, I counted wrong. There's actually 6 total numbers in mine. And yeah.
Well, that's one number too many.
I got to own up to it.
So there's only
one of these mudslide mamas or daddies is going to be like, excuse me, Jillian, that's totally wrong. I'm going to get fact checked because I couldn't count correctly.
Well, yeah. And it's the 7 digits.
I had to own up.
Yeah. And it's the 7 digits I would need to memorize. The area code wouldn't be hard. So if 6 of the 7 are different, that's not really helpful for me. That's a whole bunch of unique numbers.
In the 7 digits, there's only 3.
Oh, okay.
I only have 3 numbers in the 7 digits. So if you could remember the area code, you'd be good to
Okay,
go.
perfect.
Well, thank you. Thank you for memorizing
I'll be
somebody's
safe.
phone
I will
number.
now be
I
safe.
am proud of
Thank
you.
you.
That's
I
good.
hate
Yeah.
memorizing things, so it took a lot of effort, but it's been handled.
So we actually did some research together. I don't know if you remember this, but we asked
On phone numbers?
No, not on phone numbers, but we're just catching up on the things,
Yeah.
right? We actually asked my children
Mhm.
what the song Knights in White Satin meant.
Yes, that's right. We did. Oh my gosh.
And they also had conjured up the idea of
Medieval knights.
of like a medieval knight. Yeah. So I think that's just an age barrier.
I think that's a good barrier. I think that's good. It makes me feel better. Like when you expose your kids to stuff early on, most of it's going to go over their head. It's totally fine. It's fine.
Totally fine.
So I do want to know something though. I'm hoping that you might be able to tell me because I have been wondering. How does Wally end? Do you know? Like, is she like appreciative or is she like irritated when she wakes up and he's still like around? Has she been reprogrammed and so she like doesn't even like recognize him? Like, what's the deal? Do they get married?
I feel like they do end up liking, like, I feel like she's happy in the end. Like I feel like they end up together, but I can barely remember the ending now. I wanted to find it and watch it, but I just didn't have enough time to get that
Well,
done.
that's okay. Because
Yeah.
the reason I was thinking about it in general and wanted to know the ending is because it just kind of made me think about the concept of there's two sides to every story. And there's actually 3.
100%.
Right. Like there's person number 1's version, person number 2, and then actually the truth in the middle. And it kind of just made me think about that concept a little bit more because I've had a couple of those things come up recently in my life where like people are pitted against each other or in a conflict or something. And it kind of brought me back to like, I'm sure like from Disney's perspective or like Wally's perspective, it was like, oh, it's so sweet that he cared about her even like after she, like sickness and health and and like not necessarily thinking of how creepy that could be from the other person's end if they're like keep saying no and the person doesn't accept the no. So I don't know.
100%. 100%. And I don't think it's all bad. It's definitely not all bad. And, I am pulling up the Wikipedia right now because just to read it. So it looks like they dance in space, and then she realizes that Wally didn't steal the plant from her, and Wally gets pushed back to Earth, and Eve goes back to Earth and repairs Wally, but his memory and personality have been erased. Eve gives Wally a goodbye kiss, which releases a static electricity shock, restoring him. Wally and Eve reunite as Axiom inhabitants take their first steps on Earth. Humans and robots turn the ravaged planet into a paradise, and the plant grows into a mighty tree beneath which Wally and Eve rest.
Oh, so Eve is also rescuing a damsel in distress, just like me when I was little with Smurfette. But she's rescuing Wally.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Aw.
So I think that they're like, yes, I think overall the movie is great, but there's definitely an undertone of like a little like, hey, she said no. She's trying to get something done. She has a headache tonight. I don't know, like something like
She's got some priorities she needs to handle, bro. Like, be patient. Back off.
right. But overall, I wouldn't cast this one completely aside. I definitely think Wally probably ends with a little bit better. But the other thing is, I mean, just existing in the world, you're going to end up offending somebody in some way,
Oh, yeah.
right? So you could look at things in a million different ways, but there is definitely a big chunk of that movie where I'm like, dude.
Enough is enough.
Dude.
Back up.
Yes.
Oh,
Exactly.
no. Well, what else did we talk about? Because I did re-listen to it again today, and then I did fall asleep during the Wally part. So
Of course you did, Natasha.
you can always.
You are not a good advertisement for our podcast. One of the hosts can't even make it through her own episode.
No, I'm just so comfortable and like so like, in like a safe space from our voices, that it just, comforts me right to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we talked about Kids Bop. I don't think that song existed. I couldn't find anything real about it after that. So I think it was just an urban legend, but it was so heavy of an urban legend that it became like almost its own existing thing.
Yeah.
Because which is kind of weird. We talked about, we'll have to get into urban legends on a future Mental Mudslides, because we had a conversation about that as well. We also talked about prison tours. I think that I would like to take a look at some prisons and penitentiaries from the outside and just do a little voting, like which one's prettier, because I think
Yes.
I think prison architecture could be really fun. I can't wait to show you the picture of the prison.
I can't wait.
From where I grew
I can't
up.
wait.
From
I did a little research about prison because, I have a bad memory about things. So I just went to do my own fact checking to confirm if I did have a lover who went to prison. Because I was like, what if it was just jail? So, and I think there's a big difference, right? Prison versus jail. So I did a little research and confirmed, yes, I did have a lover who did prison time twice for a total of 2.5 years. So 7 years apart.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I dated a convict. I mean, he wasn't at the time, but he was a future convict. So I know, I feel very dangerous. Ooh, a little mysterious.
You are a rebel.
I know.
A rebel. So you now have in your possession a picture of the penitentiary that I was referring to that looks like a gingerbread house.
I would love to go to prison if I was going there. This looks like some sort of like mansion from the old South. My God. Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you would like to see this picture, Mudslide mamas and daddies, just go onto our Facebook page. You can check it out there, or you can go to mentalmudslides.com and subscribe to our newsletter, where we'll be including this image in our monthly newsletter. Natasha, my love, do you have anything else that we need to follow up on, or is this the end of our after the slide cleanup?
Darling, I think this is the end. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
It is. It is. Well, that's all for this episode. We'll see you on the next episode of Mental Mudslides.
Until then, bye.